this video, I'm going to take you through the basics of what makes a complete sentence. I'm going to go through two really common problems in first-year composition writing, namely the fragment and the run-on sentence. The more common problem is this run-on sentence. I like apples, comma, I hate oranges. We have two complete sentences connected by a comma. This is called a comma splice, and it is a no-no. If that's all you needed to know and you are good to go, then there's nothing more. You don't need to watch this video, but chances are for many of you, you have questions on like what makes a complete sentence. And as our sentences get more complicated, you're going to want some of these basics to kind of figure out like whether you should put a period on it and call it a sentence, or whether it's not yet finished. Okay, so this video is going to take you through some basics. How do we know we have a complete sentence? Guys, there are two things you need to make a complete sentence. You need the subject part of the sentence, which is going to be a noun. The subject is the person, place, or thing doing that action. And you need the predicate, which is the verb part of the sentence. With those two things, you can put a period on it. You have to capitalize it. It is a complete sentence. Okay? It's helpful to back up a little bit and talk and just go through the four kinds of sentences. And I like to remember them with these punctuation marks here. We've got our simple declarative sentence, which is your basic, I like to watch my dog play. Your subject, you've got your verb, and you're just making a statement about something, declaring something. You've got your question, your interrogative sentence. If someone interrogates you, that means they're questioning you. So, does my dog like to play? That's your question. And if you notice in this sentence, the subject of the sentence is in the middle of the sentence and your verb is in the front and the end. So your subject is not always in the beginning of the sentence. Okay, sometimes your subject can also be the end of the sentence and your verb in the beginning. There's the exclamatory sentence, which can kind of be any sentence that you just want to add emphasis, right? Exclamatory. My dog likes to play. Your exclamation it could be actually any one of these sentences. The final sentence is a little bit more confusing. This is called the imperative. Imperative means, if something is imperative, it means it's important. But in this case, this imperative sentence is not always important. The imperative sentence is giving a direction, and the implied subject is you. So, for example, the sentence, play with my dog. You play with my dog. The implied subject is you. The you is not actually in the sentence, but it's a direction. Play with my dog. If you have a sentence that says, sit down, that is a complete sentence. It's an imperative sentence. You're telling someone, sit down. You're going to put a period on it, or you can put an exclamation, and you're going to capitalize it. And that's a complete sentence, guys. Okay? So these are our four sentences. I'm going to confuse you even more now, okay? So I just told you a sentence contains a subject and a verb, but now I'm going to tell you that a clause is defined as a phrase that includes a noun and a verb. So there are two different kinds of clauses, okay? There's the independent clause, which is your sentence. I like to get ice cream. We got a subject, we got a verb. It can stand alone. It is an independent clause. But then we have these other phrases that also have nouns and verbs in them. But guys, they are not complete sentences. When I go to the park, you know that's not a complete sentence. It's the beginning of the sentence. When I go to the park, what? When I go to the park, I like to get ice cream, okay? But when I go to the park, not a complete sentence. Since I was five, I've always loved to play with my cousins. Since I was five is just the beginning. It's not a sentence. We're waiting for the sentence to come. Okay, they are dependent clauses because they cannot stand alone. Okay, we are now moving on to fragment sentences. Fragment sentences are going to be missing a subject or a verb, or sometimes both. So here's an example where it's missing a verb. The Lahaina wildfire going down in history as one of Hawaii's worst tragedies. It looks like it's as long as a sentence, but it doesn't have a verb. Going looks like it could be a verb, but guys, that ing makes it a gerund, and it is a helping verb. It is not the main verb. So we need to add the main verb. Lahaina wildfire. The Lahaina wildfire will be going down in history as one of Hawaii's worst tragedies. Will be. We needed to add that main verb. Going, ing, is always just going to be a helping verb. Sometimes you need to add the verb. Deadly harm from crystal meth use. We got a subject. We got no verb. So here we can change it around a little bit. Crystal meth use causes deadly harm. I had to switch it around and add this verb, causes. Sometimes we are missing a subject. Went to prom with Lauren Nagamine, not a complete sentence, because we might say that and people might understand what we mean, but in writing we need a subject to call it a complete sentence. Ralph went to prom with Lauren Nagamine. We got a subject, we got the verb went to prom. That is a complete sentence. Okay. We also have sentences where we don't have a subject or a verb. So look at this. Oh my goodness, you're telling me this is not a complete sentence? Okay. Our new landlord was expected to make changes. Fine. That is a complete sentence. Landlord was expected. Okay. But the second phrase here, such as fixing the plumbing, installing a new washer, replacing the security guard, install blah, 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 and it goes on. Even though it's very long, because you started the sentence with such as, it's not a complete sentence. And you're not setting yourself up to write a complete sentence. One simple way to solve this is just to connect the sentences. Our new landlord was expected to make changes such as blah, 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 blah. Just connect the sentences. A lot of times that's all you need to do. Another idea, because the second part is kind of long, it might be a good idea to start a new sentence. Which was kind of the natural instinct there. Our new landlord was expected to make changes, period, done. For example, he was supposed to fix the plumbing, install the dishwasher, install a new washer, replace the security guard, blah, blah, blah. Okay. For example, he was supposed to. So you need to start a new sentence and you need to repeat that subject and verb in order to make it a complete sentence. We are moving on to run-on sentences. These are sentences containing two or more sentences that are not connected by a conjunction. So here we have the classic comma splice. He plays basketball in winter. He plays baseball in the spring. We say it in one breath. They're really connected. We want them to be connected. We want to connect them with a comma, but it's not a complete sentence. So what do we need to do? The easiest way to fix it is just to put a period and start a new sentence. He plays basketball in the winter, period. He plays baseball in the spring. Okay. Another way to fix it is to add a contraction. Contractions are those words and, or but that connect to complete sentences. So we could say, he plays basketball in the winter and he plays baseball in the spring, and we connected it with a comma. Or we could say, he plays basketball in the winter, comma, but he plays baseball in the spring. Okay. Or doesn't really work for the sentence, but that's another option. These are our three contractions: and, or but. Another option that I'm going to throw it out there for you, although I don't really recommend it, is this thing called the semicolon. The semicolon goes between two complete sentences, and they're actually, they might be something you want to use for these two sentences that you kind of say in the same breath. He plays baseball in the winter. He plays basketball in the winter. He plays baseball in the spring, and you connected it with a semicolon. I'll make a separate video about the semicolon because they're often misused, but you can use them between two complete sentences. Guys, that's it for today. Hopefully that helps you with your complete sentences. Ahui ho.